So I've got a question for you. Do you feel fine on the outside, but on the inside you feel really anxious, overwhelmed and constantly overthinking? If so, you might have high functioning anxiety. Now, it's not a clinical diagnosis, but it does collectively describe anyone that looks to be coping really well and functioning really well on the outside, but actually is living with the symptoms of anxiety, but just not saying anything about it. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you what high functioning anxiety is and some ways that you can overcome it. So what is high functioning anxiety? So high functioning anxiety is not a diagnosable condition. So you could go to your GP, they won't actually diagnose you with it. It's more a term that's used by therapists and practitioners to describe high performing people like yourself, and covers a ton of issues relating to anxiety and the negative self-talk that goes on with you or can go on with you. So the best way for me to explain high functioning anxiety is to explain what it actually feels like. So here are some signs of what high functioning anxiety may look like to people on the outside, like your colleagues, your friends or your family, and what they actually feel like internally. So one of the first things can be what other people see is somebody that is driven and motivated. But inside you actually feel guilty if you take time off, unable to fully relax. It's just like a carousel that you just can't get off. You could work late and then not be able to sleep because you just don't feel like you've done enough. As soon as you get into bed, your mind can start racing about all of the things that you didn't complete and everything that you haven't done. And you can end up with sort of nervous habits like skin pulling, biting your nails, chewing your gums, things like that that you use when you sort of go to bed to cope. It's their nervous things that happen. And another thing is that other people can see you as the go-to person, the one that gets things done, the problem solver and the main point of contact. So in stressful times, they'll always go to you. You're always there to help, but you actually have a fear of saying no because you feel the need to people please. You feel like if you can't help people and solve their problems, then you're weak and a failure. And in turn, people won't like or approve of you. That's how you feel inside. Another thing is other people can see you as really confident, like you have everything together. You are the most confident person they know. But realistically, internally, you feel really uncomfortable at work, in meetings or networking events or sort of social situations. You feel a kind of social anxiety maybe. Even when you're sort of on courses where it's your subject of speciality, you can still have that lack of confidence in feeling that you don't actually know everything and you struggle to speak up because of this anxiety. And you're anxious about making the best possible impression on people that you don't even know. And this can make you freeze in certain social situations too. And it's the feeling of what people think of you and the constant need for feedback from strangers. So if you feel like you can relate to any of these examples that I just spoke about, and you want to know some things that you can do to keep your anxiety in check, then listen on for some simple strategies that can give you help as a good starting point. So a great starting point is to actually learn to be more accepting. Self-acceptance is so important. Knowing that having anxiety is okay and that most people have anxious feelings. It's a very common feeling. Just practice being more accepting of yourself and also accepting of your perceived flaws, the flaws that you think you have. Remember that you're a human being and you will make mistakes, and just try not to judge yourself so harshly. Self-compassion can really help you break free from these cycles of intrusive thoughts. You can become more aware of what you are thinking and the sort of things that you're criticizing yourself about. Some people can be afraid to not have anxiety anymore. If they don't have the anxiety to drive them, then they'll no longer be a high performer. It's like a badge of honor. And they feel like they need it to be at the top of their game, even though it makes them feel terrible. But can you see the negativity and unhealthiness in that? Our experience of the world can be based on how we interpret what is happening. But also knowing that, we also have the power to reframe. So what I mean by this is if you start to listen to your thoughts and become more self-aware. So when you start to have the negative intrusive thoughts, the rumination and catastrophizing, you can bring yourself back to the present moment and learn to rationalize your thoughts. Take the example that you start catastrophizing over a situation. Like if I miss the deadline at work, I'm going to lose my job, for example. Change that narrative, reframe the belief. You can change it to, I've never missed a deadline before, and even if I did, I'm not going to lose my job over it. Another strategy is sleep. It is the number one function that you need to be in control of your life. It will help you perform well overall. Sleep is the number one function to being in control of your thoughts and your anxiety, your intrusive thoughts and your anxiety. When you are anxious and out of control in your daily life, you can try and sabotage your sleep. And it's all subconscious. You try and make yourself stay awake longer because you're actually in control of that when you're not in control of your life in the day. So you believe. You don't want the day to end because you know that then another day will start tomorrow and you'll have the same trouble again. So you try and keep yourself awake thinking that the bad things won't happen again tomorrow, ultimately sabotaging your sleep, which you need. But it only carries on the cycle of the poor sleep, which then leads to the anxiety, which then leads to you not being able to function in the day and feeling anxious again. So you can stay awake at night scrolling, watching Netflix, just checking social media unnecessarily, ending up on TikTok down those random rabbit holes. We've all been there. And this is because you subconsciously want to remain in control, and this is the one thing that you have control of towards the end of your day. But the thing is, you end up then not being able to regulate yourself the next day because you've not given your body the time to rest and repair. The vicious cycle goes on, you get the picture. So you need to make your sleep a priority. Try and get yourself a decent nighttime routine. Set yourself up for success in the evenings. So like an hour before bed, put your phone away. Just start to do calming things that can make you feel more chilled before you go to bed, such as having a bath, a nice bit of self-care, relaxing yourself, a bit of meditation, some tea, staying away from alcohol. Just really getting yourself into that sleep mode so that your body is relaxed and ready to go to sleep. And the final piece of advice is just to say yes to yourself more, which can mean saying no to others. But just being a lot kinder to yourself. Stop putting others before you and start actually looking after yourself. Make self-care a priority, whatever that means to you. Set those boundaries that make your life more on your terms and make time for yourself. If you don't make time for yourself and your own mental health, then you won't have the capacity to deal with anything else that comes up in your life. It is so important. So make self-care a priority, try out these tips that I've given and see if this helps you with your high-functioning anxiety and to get rid of those intrusive thoughts that are affecting your life. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Angela Buckley and I cannot wait to see you again soon.